want to get our authentic reactions to trying this. It's called a Party Can Triple Spice Margarita. Hello, welcome to Flat Criminal. I just dive in now. Like, people don't care. Like, there's no intro anymore.
We never have had an intro.
No. So, it's a canned margarita, which, my friend Elliot Norris posted on TikTok that he tried it, and it was very good. It's $10 at Trader Joe's, and it's supposed to serve 12 drinks. So it's kind of like you can bring it to the beach thing, or, you can drink it out of the back of someone's car. I don't know. I'm not advocating drinking it irresponsibly. Otherwise, I'm going to be censured. But it has it looks vaguely like piss.
Well, it smells interesting. It sounds interesting. But we did just notice that it is not real tequila because it is not high enough in alcohol.
Well, it says tequila. It's made with tequila joven. So I think that means young tequila. Liqueur d'orange, which I think is orange liquor. Lime, natural spice flavor, and caramel color. The caramel color thing is off-putting to me, but we'll try it. Serves 12. Okay. So,
and I think you probably just poured 4 of those.
I think so. So there we go. All right.
Here we go.
Cheers. Let's try this.
Oh wait, let me read this really quickly. The triple spice margarita heats up a party with aromas of ginger, cinnamon, and subtle chili pepper.
Okay, that's a lot for a canned margarita. You know what? I'm pleasantly impressed.
It tastes good, but you can tell it's not real tequila because it's not strong. Like,
right.
It's not strong at all. It tastes like...
But I've had...
tastes like punch.
Well,
with a vague wine after flavor.
But there's some that we've had before that you get those margarita mixes from the store, like the Jose Cuervo margarita mix or something, and it looks like piss, it smells like piss, and it tastes fake. Like, it just tastes like you can taste... Yeah, you can taste the bad chemicals going into your body. This
It just doesn't taste fake, yeah. It might actually be fake, but it doesn't taste fake.
No, I don't think so. Those are all the ingredients on the list right there. The only additive is caramel coloring. So, for what it's worth.
Well,
this is real juice. Okay.
I mean, it's worth the $10.
I have to give it like an 8 out of 10. Like, I take off 1 point for the caramel coloring, because I know that they do that so people can identify it as a margarita. It would probably be clear otherwise. And I take off 1 point for it not actually being a hard alcohol drink.
Right, but that's kind of our fault for not realizing that when we picked it up.
Well, do you want an extra shot?
No.
Well, I was going to get a shot of tequila just to add to it.
If you want,
well,
I will talk of you. You go ahead and do that. I will talk of. You heard the both of us rant and rave about negatively about the White Claw vodka that we purchased.
Oh.
So I decided, you know what? Instead of just letting it sit in the freezer and never be used, we should at least try to do something with it. At least like experiment. And so I put some ginger turmeric tea bags in the bottle, and I'm letting it infuse and steep. I guess it's been 12 hours now, but I'd like to go about 24 before we try it, or before we really try it.
Yeah,
but
you gave me a shot this morning before we went to the gym.
We did taste a little bit of it this morning.
I was like, okay, this is pretty good.
It made it better. It still
yes
tastes like really strong. Like, it's just not smooth. The White Claw vodka is not smooth. But it made it better, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, the White Claw vodka, I wish we tried it on the air. We just talked about it. I wish we tried it on the air so you could get my just absolutely horrified reaction of just, it was the...
That might have been a best suited for like a video podcast, because
it was pain.
We were making the worst faces.
It was pain. It was absolute pain.
But anyway, we do have actual topics to get to.
Okay, I added a shot of tequila. It doesn't taste any different, so that's good. You can, so, treat this margarita mix. I guess, okay. My review bumps it up to a 9. If you treat this margarita mix the same way that you treat any other kind of pre-made mixer, add this to your tequila or whatever of choice, And maybe keep some of this around, because if you don't necessarily have fresh limes
Yeah, that makes it easier. Yeah.
or the other ingredients or triple sec or, curacao, have this on hand. And because we did have a margarita emergency the other day.
Emergency.
It was a couple weeks ago. I went to go make one. I put in the tequila, I put in the curacao, everything else, and I opened the fridge and there was no limes. And I thought we had some more downstairs. Nope. Nope. And so I tried adding like a little bit more agave and some soda, and it tasted horrible.
Because you need lime juice for a margarita.
I didn't
or
even
some
have
kind
the
of
fake
citrus.
lime juice. There was nothing. So I was just sitting there suffering.
No, we had no citrus in the house that evening.
We had scurvy in the house that evening.
It was bleak.
It was bleak. But diving into what you wanted to discuss with our
we really just we have three sort of topics, and we'll get through them fairly quickly, I think. But
sort of topics. We have 3 topics.
okay. The first one being that they have announced, at least temporarily, Lawrence Jones, is that his name?
Yeah.
Will be
the third.
taking over for Tucker, which I think is a strange choice because he's never had his own show. As far as I know, he subbed for a few people sometimes.
Right.
But that's only during Christmas when no one's watching anyway.
Right. It's weird to have a personality who, to my understanding, doesn't really have any personality.
He's a perfectly nice guy, and I've seen him on, I think
he was on the 5
on
or the 6 or whatever, right?
I think he was on the 5 once. I've seen him. He was on Gutfeld once, I believe.
Right.
He's not often on Gutfeld because he is on in the mornings, as I think his normal routine. So, he's fun. He's funny. He seems like a nice guy.
It's a pretty big slot to put someone to give a chance to somebody.
That's my concern.
Right. Because O'Reilly had a 20-year career before he went to, at least 20 years, at Inside Edition or whatever he was doing before. Tucker had a 20-year career in media and on cable news, and even, hosting his own broadcasts or jointly hosting broadcasts. And, Kyle, your AirPods, I think, connected to the shit. Wait, let me disconnect those. Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. You're fine.
You didn't know.
I didn't know.
I'll go back and edit this out to see if.
Okay.
Oh, I think it's okay because it's registering us, so it should be fine.
What the hell?
I can click "Don't use." Hold on. Don't use. Okay, there you go. It's not connecting to us, so you're good. So
Hold on. I'll go ahead and edit.
you want me to stop it and then?
Yeah. Lawrence Jones. He seems like a nice guy, but I don't think he's ready for that. I don't know what. And
Well, the thing that I don't understand is that the thing that I don't understand is that they have other talent that has been on the air for a long period of time, like Harris Faulkner, who you suggested in a podcast, who's actually like a seasoned Fox personality and is well known and is well spoken. Someone like that seems like it would be a better fit for that slot, already having spent that much time at Fox.
and it's perhaps I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they tossed around the idea. Maybe they asked her, but she does have her 2 shows in the morning that maybe she just really likes working during the day and not at night, which is totally understandable. So it's possible.
It's hard to do a 5 p.m. show.
I think it's weird. I think it's weird
It's
that
weird
they're
because
giving it to him.
if you had given me 100 names, including his, that they would have picked for Tucker's slot, he would have been like 95th on my list.
But again, I think this is temporary. There's a word I'm looking for, and it's not coming to mind. I know.
Well, it sounded like he was just going to be interim host.
Yes,
of
thank
the
you. That's
show,
the word I
because
was looking for.
For a
Thank you.
week, they shoved in Brian Kilmeade, and so they might just have him on for a couple weeks.
Right.
And then
They
they'll
might
find
just
somebody else.
Yeah, they might be giving him the gig
Yeah.
for like 2 weeks until they find
But
somebody.
who wants to come in and take that spot? That's the problem. Because a lot of people... Okay, I saw the announcement, and I saw the responses underneath it. No one said congratulations, from what I could see. Everyone's like, look, good for you, but we're not tuning in. We will not be watching. We're not watching Fox after what they did to Tucker, because it sounds like a raw deal.
And you know what? I didn't expect to have so much to talk about this particular topic, but 2 other things that just came to mind. with regard to Tucker. Apparently, the other people who work at Fox have been given a gag order by Fox saying you cannot talk about Tucker
It's like as if he never existed.
Yes,
That's weird.
because Greg Gutfeld pushed the envelope. Because I listen, excuse me, I listened to the Five, the audio recording of the Five after they release it in the evening.
Yeah.
So I was listening to it before I went to bed last night, and Greg Gutfeld pushed the envelope and he said, we here at Fox, we're just all tuckered out. And Judge Janine said, and she quickly diverted the conversation.
Well, those 6 glasses of Chardonnay that Judge Janine had before going on there, those vaporized real quick. She sobered up real quick.
But I have a feeling, and you got the feeling that Tucker and Greg were good colleagues a little bit. They didn't maybe hang out.
But they have a similar kind of humor, too. They're a little bit more irreverent and offbeat, and they're kind of the same age.
Right, so I think they have become friendly and chummy. So he's probably the most irritated of
I would be too,
the Fox
because
people.
I think the idea was to bring. I was surprised that Red Eye got canceled, and I was surprised that Greg was brought on to do more of a daytime role. I think that after O'Reilly, Greg was the person that they were going to bring into that role because Jesse Waters was still too green. He was kind of like O'Reilly's protege. But Greg would have been the person to kind of come in there and at least be a little bit more irreverent and play to that audience. And I think if they offered him that job now, he wouldn't take it because Tucker has so defined what evening programming is on these shows in the same way that O'Reilly did for that generation. Like O'Reilly's formatting was eventually copied by Maddow, by even during Morning Joe, like having a version of the talking points memo and even reading audience comments and things like that. A lot of his little like interviews and things and gags and stuff, those kind of set the blueprint. Now everyone wants a Tucker style monologue. Everyone wants the irreverent sort of last word thing that he goes into. People want to do these in-depth documentary style features that he seems to enjoy very much, or even the longer form interviews on his daytime show. That's been copied all across cable news now. So I look at something like that and I see where somebody is there's a void there now that he isn't there, and now I think it's showing an increasing irrelevance in cable news in general. We get our news from the internet. And, I was talking to a friend whose parents have a Fox Nation subscription, and he was like, hey, they're angry. They're like, we want to cancel. There's still some things on there we would like to watch, but he's like, okay, well, hurry up and watch them, and we'll cancel this at the end of the month, because if Tucker goes anywhere else, that's an immediate done. Fully canceled. They're still a little bit afraid to let go. These are people who have been watching Fox since the late 90s. Right. Since Shep was straight. And being groped by Rachel Marsden in the hallways.
Well, and at least slightly conservative.
Yes. Oh, by the way, I think that Shep and Don Lemon are the same person. Both Louisiana, formerly closeted, no longer closeted gays living in New York who came from a more conservative perspective, but then have these sort of liberal outbursts now and then, and are known to be drunk and go off the handle.
But you know what?
That's both of them.
You're hold on to your seat for a second.
I'm holding on to the window bench I'm sitting in.
You know how much I despise Don Lemon.
Don Lemon,
but
yes.
I respect him more than Shepard Smith.
Ooh, well,
purely because Don Lemon went to LSU. Shepard Smith went to Ole Piss.
Oh.
And so he disgraced his heritage and went to the turncoat school.
Oh, wait, is Shepard Smith from Mississippi?
I think
he's from the region. I don't know if he was from Louisiana. I might have.
He has ties to Louisiana. I know this.
But I remember he kept saying Gulfport, but I don't know where. Let me see where he's from.
I know he went to Ole Miss. And that's why a lot of people from Louisiana don't care for him.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that there was that much of a...
Oh, yeah. My dad couldn't stand him when he was on Fox.
Oh, he was born in Holly Springs, Mississippi. Okay.
Well, I know he has some kind of connection to Louisiana.
He studied journalism at the University of Mississippi. Is that Ole Miss? Yes, by name Ole Miss.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, because it's Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Those are two different schools.
Okay.
And so we call Ole Miss Ole Piss.
So that's your regional rivalry in the same way that ours here is.
Oh, no, we have
UCLA.
several of them.
Oh, so what about Tulane?
University of Alabama and Ole Piss are the two kind of rivalries that LSU has.
Ours is UCLA's is USC. No one has a rivalry with Pepperdine because they're too far out, and Chapman is the OC Pepperdine, so there's not really a rivalry.
Chapman, I barely know him. No.
And Irvine, what are you gonna have a rivalry with someone in the science? In a lab coat?
But I'm sorry
Anteater?
to take this back. One last thing about Tucker, and I realize we talked about him in the last episode, but more information, more news has come out since. Yeah. Did you watch the two videos that were quote unquote leaked or?
I watched a portion of one, and then I outsourced it to a friend who had already seen it, and I checked in with him, and I was like, "Hey, have you seen this? Like, what did he talk about?" And he was like, "Everything he said is perfectly reasonable. I don't know what the issue is."
Right.
He's like, "The Fox Nation app sucks. We know that. My parents know that. Everyone knows that."
Right. So in one of the videos, he was dogging the Fox Nation app, which he was like, and he was still working for them, but he was like, I don't understand why this is not user friendly, blah, 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 blah.
It really is.
Right.
With all the money that they have, it was a shit app.
And especially if you're asking people to pay for it. And then secondly, in the other video, he was talking to Piers Morgan before and or after, I'm not sure, an interview with him. And he jokingly was like, well, if you want to ask about sex, because he knows that Piers Morgan sometimes asks racy topics and controversial questions. So I think it was Tucker's way of making something, bring some levity to a situation or a conversation. They're joking. And they turned it into like, oh, can you believe it? I think they're trying to get the conservatives to just be like clutching their pearls going, oh my God, he talked about sex, even though it wasn't on live television. It's like, so you don't talk about sex behind closed doors, like not in like public?
Well, it's a big reason. They're trying the same playbook of what they did to Trump in 2015 and 2016 with the grab her by the pussy tapes. That was the biggest non-story ever. Trump on a bus with Billy Bush, the dumbest Bush, and there's a lot of dumb Bushes, sitting there talking about like,
that was my nickname in college.
Well, but it's basically saying you're of this family and you have a name and you have some notoriety, There's women out there. Basically, it was almost like a warning. He was saying there's women out there who they seek out celebrities and well-known people, and they're like, you can do anything to me, like you can grab them by the boob, grab them by the pussy, you can do anything you want, because that's how some of these women are. He wasn't saying, I go around and serially grope women, which has never been proven. It was saying this is something that is a quality of certain kinds of women. In the same way where a basketball player talking to another basketball player saying, hey, there's women who hang out by the locker rooms waiting for athletes to finish and trying to jump on their tour bus to blow them before they go to a club or something like that. And there are. Unfortunately, that's an unfortunate fact of life. Sorry, men. Some of your daughters, maybe you didn't even know you had one, are out doing this kind of stuff. And there's gay versions of this. There's lots of versions of this. And so it's like, okay, so, maybe have a little bit more self-respect than doing that. This is all that he was trying to say. That getting turned into I can't believe that he said he touched a woman in the vagina. Like, this was the biggest non-story. So I don't care if he told Piers Morgan to, finger himself and listen to Pink Floyd. Whatever the fuck he said.
He literally said, well, if you're going to ask me about sex, I can talk about my master technique. That's literally all he said.
And on the Megyn Kelly show, Tucker literally said, he's like, yeah, that's part of my wife and I's daily routine. I get up, we have our marital congress, I go and, we make breakfast, we'd go and see the kids, everything, because he lives in the guest house of his own house. That's kind of everyone's ideal situation. Like, the fact that this, again, gets pulled into, he said the S word, I don't think anyone's buying this. And by the way,
I don't think anyone actually cares, but whoever, quote unquote, leaked or put out this footage was trying to defame him or something.
Well, this is the embarrassing thing, and I think that, I don't know if that's actionable in a lawsuit, but this concept that, okay, you can say things, and now you have 6 producers waiting there to throw you under the bus at any given second. That's nasty. There was a producer on Tucker's show, and she sued because someone told someone a comment that could have been construed as being negative against her. And so she's suing. This person is not conservative. This person is, in fact, anti-conservative. And they're working at Fox, and they're like, how dare they? I can't believe it. You saw her, the Bowser with the weird wig. And so, she's Abby Grossberg, something like that. And so you're like, okay, why is this woman working at Fox in the first place, number one? Number two, you have never met the person whose show that you're a producer on in person, ever. Right. You haven't even had a direct conversation with this person. And yet you're throwing him and everyone else in the network under the bus because you felt a way about some low-level intern saying something. That's It speaks to the HRification of society and how that has widely damaged so many workplaces to the point where people don't want to work there anymore. But yes.
And you dovetailed, right?
I dove-told.
Right into the next topic nicely. Speaking of HRification, if that's what you coined that term, I guess. Or the DEI-ification, if we can.
The deification
of workplaces, including places like the U.S. Navy.
Oh,
we were told to talk about this topic.
Yes.
Sorry, we were asked to talk about this topic, not told. We cannot be told, Colin.
And I think
he can probably tell us.
Colin can tell us. He's listening. He can tell us. Another shot in your fucking drink.
No, so I saw this before he tagged us and told us to talk about it. And I thought it was frightening. But I'm just going to read you a few lines from this article on Rebel News.
Is Linda Tripp still alive? Completely out of context.
You're cut off. No. In an effort to engage a broader audience through popular social media platforms and tackle severe recruiting challenges, the U.S. Navy tapped Yeoman Second Class Joshua Kelly, an active duty drag queen.
Yes!
Known by the stage name Harpy Daniels.
I was telling Kyle about this in the car.
In its digital ambassador pilot program. And then it goes on, but I want to also quote this next little spot. No, sorry.
What was it? Wasn't it something like...
The Navy's latest DEI policy updates focus on recruiting and retaining soldiers by fostering an inclusive culture and ensuring personnel feel connected to their mission and leaders. The Navy aims to increase its size from 347,000 officers and enlisted sailors by 2024, up from 341,736. Random number.
It's 6,000 people.
Basically, yeah. Yeah. So they think recruiting 6,000 people, in order to do that, they need to employ a drag queen who does not seem to look or perform very well.
Did you see the quote, though, where something like, "This is how I serve," and then the fan got whipped out? And it was like one of those, like, little TikTok things.
See, something tells me you're loving this, and I'm just cringing the whole time. I'm just like...
No, I'm loving this because...
We're a joke. Well, the U.S. Navy is a joke, and
and you know,
there are people.
Kyle, who's had family serve in the Navy and everything like that. He's like, they're the worst of all the branches when it comes to things like this. Like, they're the most liberal and the most woke and the most. They've always have been. They always will be. But I'm just loving the idea of a Navy recruiting booth at Pride. Actually, no, a Navy recruiting booth in front of the Abbey.
It's too easy. Come get your seamen. Come find some seamen.
But but you can't say that. You can't advertise there's men in the Navy. You have to advertise it's like trans non-binary lesbians. Like, you know. And by the way, I guarantee that they will advertise to people, if you want to transition, do it through the Navy and get your dick chopped off at the VA. There's people in the VA waiting for chemo treatment, but if you need that wiener removed, bam, we're right there. We will turn that into a hot pocket in 5 fucking minutes. You got Spanish American war veterans saying they're bleeding out, and they're like, doesn't matter, lop it off.
Maybe they want a lean pocket instead of a hot pocket. Have you ever thought about that?
Lean pockets are disgusting. That whatever crust they use tastes work. It tastes worse than the box the lean pockets come in.
Oh God!
And just lean pockets. I like hot pockets. I think they're fine. Lean pockets.
You don't eat
are great.
processed foods much.
Okay, this was like 20 years ago. I ate I don't know how the hot pockets have changed. I don't know if they've yassified hot pockets.
Anyway, no,
where does Hot Pocket stand on trans issues?
They've never issued a statement.
That's
I guess.
Fine. Okay. Hot Pocket's a great American company. I guess the conservative boycott of Bud Light is working, but I mean, who knows?
You can't jump topics yet.
I'm just transitioning.
Well, you heard it here first. You got to shave that beard.
And pussy.
Ew.
Yeah.
You know who really loses in this? And I told you about this. You didn't believe me, but I told you about this a couple days ago. No. The person people, I don't know if it's multiple, who really loses in this are the Cuban people of our age who are named Usnavi.
You told me this, and I don't believe you.
There was a news article about it. What do you want from me?
Okay, you said that they're... Okay. Explain this story, because you said that
Back
this is like Lamangelo and Orangelo, or like my daughter's name is Chlamydia. You know.
Back in the 70s, apparently, to protest some of the communist things that Castro and his people were doing. Some of the people of Cuba had children and wanted to give, a finger to the communist regime and said, we're going to name them after American values and American things. And so you got a few children in the 70s and 80s, I think, like late 70s, early 80s, who were named Usnavi, U.S. Navy. I think there were a few other ones, but that one was the one that stuck in my mind as really interesting. So there are people walking around in Cuba, maybe our age, if not a little bit older, with the name Usnavi, and now the Navy is doing this with drag queens. So these people are the ones who lose.
There's a Cuban drag recruit named Usnavi. What about Commander Camacho at this point?
I'm just saying that's what I learned.
On this episode of Trixie and Katya go to join the Navy. Katya can't make it because of her metal hip. Trixie
and her drug problem.
That's in the past. You know what? If you wanted to join a Navy at this point, you could be actively smoking weed in front of them, and they still have to recruit you. Right? Like, they're that desperate.
They want 6,000 people. That's not that many.
They'll take anybody. They will take anybody at this point. You and I can join the Navy, even though there's no way we could pass a mental competence test.
I mean, I could.
Or a physical fitness test.
Well, that I couldn't do, but I could.
I couldn't either. I can do like 2 pull-ups.
I can lie my way through a
you and I, by the way, could like tear any gym in half, and we can do like 2 pull-ups, and they wouldn't let us in. But I think all of that all that's gone. We can join at this point.
But I just have to highlight one last. I mean,
isn't that how it should end in the South China Sea? You and I just bobbing outside of a Hong Kong junk boat.
I'm not dying with you.
Like one of Erica Jane's victims.
I'll kill you, but I'm not dying with you. No, but the name.
I'd be like Pat Tillman. It would be Friendly Fire.
The drag queen's name, Harpy Daniels.
Isn't she the one who got upset at Trump?
Well, no. Like, is she getting is Ann Coulter getting royalties from this bitch? Like, she took her Harpies line. I don't understand. But anyway.
That was one of the greatest things. That really converted me. I've never seen
to an Ann Coulter
a group of women enjoying their husband's death so much. Talking about... This was so ahead of its time, too. Talking about victim culture and about how these people like... Oh, my husband died in 9/11. This is why you should vote for universal health care. Oh, my husband died in 9/11. This is why you should vote for John Kerry.
They wanted money.
They did, and it was fascinating to watch that. But the rage and the greatest interview. I wish that I don't know if we can find it. Ann Coulter, Today Show. I think it was 2006 when the book came out. Ann Coulter and Matt Lauer, and they're filming it out in the. I think the Today Show was filmed out at Rockefeller Center or something. So it was filmed outside,
okay,
on like the patio. They had like a patio filming sequence. So there's people in the background, but they're like 6 feet away. And she's sitting there in like in
COVID distance.
Well, 2006. So the only thing I had to worry about then was hantavirus, swine flu. So she's sitting there, legs crossed, in a black cocktail dress, and Matt Lauer is like, how could you say these things like that? Like, how could you say, these women are hard? She's like, read it in the book, buy the book, and read exactly what I said because you keep taking what I say out of context. Just like ripped it. Okay. Cut to commercial. Comes back. Coulter's gone. Kathy Griffin is there, promoting her next special and the next season of My Life on the D-List, and she is fascinated. And she keeps pulling Matt Lauer back to the conversation about Ann Coulter. She's like, why is she wearing a cocktail dress? What, did she come here from her hookup the night before? And Matt Lauer is so visibly uncomfortable because he probably raped somebody that morning in his office. Oh, and he was so upset.
Allegedly.
No, he had a button on his desk to close the door. But she made him so uncomfortable, and it was so funny to watch that because then Coulter went on The View, and she's like, yeah, Kathy Griffin, I know she and I don't agree on much, but she's like one of my favorite comedians. She's actually funny because she calls you people out. And they were upset. Barbara was upset on The View because that was around the time when Barbara went on The View, and Kathy Griffin is sitting next to her, and she was ragging on Barbara Walters, and Barbara got pissed. And so, what's her name? The old one. The red hair one.
Joy Behar.
Joy Behar was sitting next to her and trying to like...
The Jewish one.
Yes, the Jewish. Well, that doesn't narrow it down. But
yes, it does.
Joy Behar... Was Barbara Walters Jewish? I don't know. But Barbara Wallstein. But Joy Behar was sitting there and like trying so hard to like pull the conversation away. And Kathy Griffin was not taking the bait whatsoever. And Barbara Walters apparently like confronted her in the dressing room and was like, you cannot ever talk about me like that. And like completely like pissed off Kathy Griffin. And then Kathy went on Oprah afterwards before that, she got uninvited basically from Oprah because she mentioned a joke about Oprah and Gayle King being lesbians. And so Kathy Griffin got kicked off of every daytime show possible just because she fucked with the host.
And but she worked that into her bits.
She did.
Her specials because I remember, Bravo aired her specials alongside with My Life on the D-List, and
but at the same time
she said something. And hand to God, I'm confessing something here on television on our podcast.
You're gay.
The only reason that I have ever bought this one product is because Kathy Griffin mentioned it in a stand-up special about Barbara Walters, because apparently Barbara Walters uses Astroglide.
I only use Astroglide.
And so I went out and bought some, and I was like,
what did you use it for? Moisturizing your hair? Cleaning?
I had a relationship at one point, and it worked just fine. Thank you.
Oh my God. Enough about your slip and slide. But okay. At the same time that Kathy Griffin became persona non grata on every daytime show.
You've gone so far off the rails.
It doesn't matter. This margarita shit's great. At the same time that Kathy Griffin became persona non grata on every daytime show, so did Ann Coulter, because I don't think she's ever been invited on the Today Show again. And then on by the way, on any Fox show, she was persona non grata at Fox. Yes. Her last appearance on Fox was, I think, 2018. Talking to Tucker. And that was it. That's the last time.
He should have had her on, like, in the last year or so. No. Like, talking about one of her...
Right.
Substack.
Well, she was upset because I think that a couple of the Fox interns working there took some things that she posted on her column without attribution and some of the research and then built segments around it. So she was understandably upset about that. Also, Fox is the only network that's ever paid Ann Coulter to appear on television has been MSNBC.
Well, Fox doesn't pay anybody. Except their talent.
But don't they pay you to make an appearance?
No.
Like repeatedly? If you have like a... Oh.
No.
Oh. No wonder they're going under.
Well, no, they're conservative for a reason. They have the money to pay those bills for a reason.
Yeah, but if I do a spot on Joanne Reed's show, do they pay me scale? Will I cross the writer strike lines for doing that?
I don't know.
I was Joanne Reed's homophobic blogger, by the way. I'm outing myself.
It makes total sense.
I'm outing and inning myself. I wrote all those posts for her.
Anyway, we were going to make this a short episode, and you're
Well,
not allowing us to do this.
What else do you have to do?
We have to cook dinner.
It's salmon and it'll cook quickly.
The last thing we were tasked to talk about is this
Why was
customer-
like Andy Dick?
I don't know. This customer confronting someone in a TJ Maxx store. So did you watch the video? Did you watch the video?
Is this the one that was the woman stealing the purses and then the guy grabs her and throws her to the ground?
Yes.
Yes, I did see that video.
Well,
that was at, where was it? San Dimas? Was it out in like Inland Empire area? In that vast area that nobody talks about? I read somewhere that there's more
it says
people
Southern
in
California, Mira Loma?
way out there. It's San Diego area.
The Cryon says, Good Samaritan tries to stop alleged purse thief. As the person's in video trying to steal the purses, they say, alleged purse thief.
She was just running towards the cash register, but she thought it was outside.
Apparently. And she has a mask on, too. The thief has a mask on.
Well,
of course they do.
To evade the detection now.
Well,
That's what's happening, is a lot of people wear masks, and then they evade detection from the security systems, and it becomes a problem.
right. So I want to know when this is going to be called a hate crime / racist, because the man who stops them from stealing is white, and the two thieves are black. So, they're either going to feed...
The thieves could have been very dark Icelandic people. You don't know.
She has the nappiest hair I've ever seen.
I have 4C hair. It doesn't matter.
The point is, these two women are being tackled and rustled to the ground by a larger white man. And so I want to know when, you brought her up earlier, Joanne Reed is going to come out and say, these women were just trying to feed their aborted fetuses at home, and how dare this man, stop them from stealing these $10 purses from TJ Maxx to sell on the African American market and make some money for their aborted fetuses back at home.
The what? The what? It's called Ross, first of all.
It was TJ Maxx.
Second of all, no, Second of all,
Yes, I'm being very tongue-in-cheek / racist. I don't know.
racist?
I'm not really. I'm being sarcastic.
Well, here's the thing. First of all, people are selling purses and things like that on eBay, I guess, and making money off of it. Or, I was talking about Amazon. That's why people are going to Costco and buying things bulk at cheap prices, and then they become Amazon trusted sellers, and they're selling them on Amazon. So that's been kind of an issue as well. But, okay. I've talked to some of these people who work at TJ Maxx, Home Goods, any of the TJX companies, and they're like, we know that we're fucked if ours is closer to the freeway than others, because they will get robbed if they're closer to the freeway because they can evade detection very quickly. People come in, they're like, all of our purses have to be cabled down, all of our jewelry has to be moved back. Anything that can be grabbed quickly has to be moved back. Like our luggage now has to go to the luggage and purses used to be right by the entryway. Now they have to be pushed to the back because that's what people steal because there's the easiest thing to steal. And like people will grab a carry-on or a bigger than carry-on size bag, fill it with a bunch of shit, and then just walk out of the store. And because it's under $100 because it's TJ Maxx, there's no one can do shit about it. But they're like, we have calls that we have between stores saying, hey, store number 302 over in Lakewood just got robbed. They're going to be to your location in about 8-9 minutes, so be prepared. But the employees are legally not allowed to intercept something in progress, which is insane to me.
Which is why other customers have to do it.
Well, that's why it's like a lot of people are like, what do you care about if a big corporation loses or something like that? And someone said, well, I care about the social fabric. Like, it might be, like, what if my older grandmother or something like that was shopping at one of these stores and she got knocked to the ground by some dumb bitch trying to steal fucking purses, trying to steal Michael Kors, which I don't know who would pay. I wouldn't pay $10 for my... You couldn't pay me to carry around a Michael Kors purse. That Oompa Loompa.
I have to say, in Knoxville, of all places, and so I don't get in trouble... Check the demographics of Knoxville.
Puerto Rican.
Check the, population percentages. But in Knoxville, of all places, you're right. Right next to the freeway, interstate, as we call them back east.
Interstate.
Well, that's what we call them. The every purse, it doesn't matter who it's by. The Michael Kors bags are a little bit more expensive. The no-name, stuff that you could find at Walmart.
The Daisy Fuentes brand.
Those are even chained down. And it's like, what is going on here? Because they've made a national... It's clearly, TJ Maxx has made a national... Policy, like, you have to chain these things down. Like you were suggesting. They're very
insane, by the way.
They're very easy to steal. I understand that. But what's going on? Like, what is...
Well, Kyle and I went to CVS over right by... Okay, it's the city of Santa Ana, but it's across from South Coast Plaza, which is the most profitable, nicest mall in the United States. We go into CVS because I needed a nail file and he needed Advil. We walk in... He had to press a button to get the Advil in the case, and someone had to take it and hold it up at the cash register. I went to get a nail file that was kept on a censored clip. A $2.68 nail file was kept on a censored clip so that people couldn't just pull it off the rack, and I just pulled it down. Like, I broke the plastic. I was like, I don't fucking care. Like, what are you going to do? And just went to go pay for it at the front with the Advil that was being kept up there like I was buying, one of the Hope Diamonds. And when we walked in, we saw that everything...
Like drugs.
Yes, I was at CVS Drugs. And so walking through there and seeing that every single item, as far as I could tell, was behind some kind of lock and key, it's like, okay, not only am I never going to a CVS again, because... I don't even care if it's an emergency. I'll just order it on my phone, and then I don't have to deal with that indignity. What the fuck is the point of shopping anymore? Is everything just going to be a mercantile store where you just ask the clerk for something and they bring it from behind the counter? There is no point to shopping like that anymore if that's the way that you treat people.
I have a feeling everything's going to become online, Amazon type stuff. There's a reason Amazon has exploded.
But you can't online an impulse purchase.
Well...
And that's what a lot of these stores...
No, you can now.
But that's what a lot of these stores, survive on. Like, I worked retail. I worked in a small retail store.
So did I.
And if anyone tried to pull shit, there was 3 people in the back who would have beat the shit out of them. And me.
You know what? I'm sure you and I can we can make an entire episode dedicated to some of our retail
stories.
Yes.
Like, no one tried to pull anything. But...
In fact, we'll save that for a special
episode. Let's save that for a special episode. Because I worked in specialty retail, and it was like, there were small things that you could have just pulled off the rack.
I kind of did too, but it was a very weird specialty.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, you can do that, but it's like people could just pull things off the rack. We didn't have loss prevention. There was no security. It wouldn't be good to have security there. But, people see a big guy like us. They're not gonna, make a big deal out of it. And if you call police or security, like, oh, someone stole something. Are they still there? No. Well, what do you have them chained in the back? No. Oh, well, then there's nothing we can do. They're down the street. They're gone. They're in Lakewood, robbing the TJ Maxx.
Well, I agree with you. It boils down to the social implications of something like this, and I guess you're right. We're getting to the point where people are not comfortable shopping in stores anymore, partially because They feel
You feel like a criminal if you have to go ask somebody for something in a store.
You feel ridiculous having to ask for like a $2 product, but also you feel like, am I going to get robbed, or am I going to be perceived as racist by looking at someone who might actually
be
rob
actively
me?
robbing? Like robbing. I'm sorry, robbing is not a sport. It's not an Olympic sport. It's not recognized as something. There's no ball involved. But robbing is not a sport. But people are treating it like one. And I feel bad because, especially for older folks who are still, used to in-person interaction, after you lock them up for 2.5 to 3 years, and you told them they couldn't go anywhere, they're actually able to enjoy going out and, interacting with somebody, talking to somebody in a shop, seeing people that they know, wandering around for a couple hours. It's a really good activity, by the way,
and
to just go down a street full of stores and walk in and maybe buy something.
You mentioned it earlier, and maybe this is exactly why they've implemented these things. Senior days at certain stores, maybe they implemented some of this because they're like, well, we'll make a dedicated day for seniors to get out of their house, come shop at our store, and get the stuff that they need where they might feel safer. Because there's going to be a lot of other seniors, there's going to be a lot of people, milling around.
And seniors I would not cross. You've got some real Navy veterans, not drag queen veterans.
Harvey Daniels.
You got real Navy veterans. They got a kill list, from here to Cambodia. I'd keep an eye around them. Well,
we've talked about the 2 topics that our intern has tasked us to talk about, and we've talked about a few things we wanted to talk about. So there we go.
Is he our Monica Lewinsky?
I'm not. You know what? I was going to make a joke, and I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole because he's married, and we love him. So, Colin, thank you. Keep sending us
Am
stuff.
I your Linda Tripp?
And other people, please. Some other followers have sent us stuff to talk about as well.
And we've talked about it.
Yes, we have. But my point is, keep sending us shit, and we'll talk about it.
We will talk about literally anything. Like, we're pretty good about that.
Yeah. We might dance around some things because of...
But it's like those ask.me things where, like the one that Marshall's taking 2 weeks to sit there and fucking answer, where it's like, we're like, cut or uncut. I don't want to talk about that now. Or, where like people asking, like, why do you like it? And I go, well, I like the looks of Henry Cavill, but, I want him to be like Napoleon. Well, pick a fucking height. So... if there's something like that, like, we will talk about it on the show. We have no shame. We don't care. Just don't ask me something like, is it pink? Like, that's stupid. But ask a real question. Anyway.
Or send us news topics to talk about is what I was getting at. So anyway.
That'd be nice, but I wanted to forestall any of that kind of discussion.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And it's appropriate, because I'm a lady.
I'm more of a lady than you are, asshole.
That's true.
Anyway. But speaking of Marshall, go fuck yourselves.